Okay, well, welcome. This is Stats XL10. Let me see if I can make this text here a bit larger on the screen. Okay. All right, and so my name is Miles Chen. I'll be your teacher, and this class is on introductory statistics. Just a few important dates. I apologize that the projector isn't as bright as I wish it were. You can always move closer if you need to. So we will have our midterm exam May 3rd and final exam on June 14th. So please mark those dates in your calendar and make sure you give yourself plenty of time to get to campus on time and things like that. Okay. We do have a textbook. The textbook looks like this. This is the second edition of the textbook. The first edition will also work. They sell a loose leaf edition and a hardcover edition, and they also have all these bells and whistles that you can get. You don't need all of that extra stuff. You just need the text. Okay, you don't need. Some of them are offered with My Stat Lab, and some are offered with, I don't know, electronic this and that. You don't need any of that stuff. Okay, you just need the text. You'll also need some kind of calculator. The calculator I use looks like this. Okay, so I recommend getting at least a scientific calculator. Okay, if you have a graphing calculator, that's great. You don't need to go out and purchase a scientific calculator. But if you don't have at least a scientific calculator, I recommend getting one. These are about 15 bucks on Amazon. I've got a couple links to ones that I recommend. In class, I will on the screen I will be using this calculator, which is pretty much the same thing that I have here. Okay, and you can, if you have the same thing that I have, you can just push the same buttons that I push. Okay. Okay. Your grading will be done via 5% homework, 5% attendance, 30% quizzes, 30% midterm exam, 30% final exam. Okay, so we're going to have a quiz here almost every week. Okay, with the exception, there's no quiz this week. There's no quiz the week of, when you take the midterm or the final exams, and then there's no quiz the week immediately after the midterm exam. Okay, but so that gives us seven other weeks. Or I'm sorry, eight other weeks of which that you'll have a quiz, and I dropped the lowest quiz grade. Okay, so we'll take the remaining 7 quizzes, you average those, and that will count as your quiz grade. Okay. As far as homework goes, I assign homework every week, and you can find those under modules. So everyone should have access. If you are enrolled in the class, you should have access to Canvas, which is my.uclaextension.edu. Okay, so you should all have access there. And under modules, you'll see different stuff. Okay, so each week I will have a page that says homework. Each week I'll also have a page that says information about next week's quiz. And then I'll also have solution videos, or if not videos, solutions for the homeworks. Okay, I'll try to have those posted. So you can click the homework, and I have problems that I've assigned from either the first edition or the second edition of the textbook. Okay. I do not collect homework. Okay, so the homework I assign for your benefit, so you can see if you have learned the material yourself. But I don't collect homework. Okay, so that's so we're on the honor system here. At the end of the quarter, I'm going to give everyone 100% for their homework grade. Okay, so everyone's going to get basically 5% free at the very end of the end of the quarter. Okay, so you should do the homework because you'll learn better that way, and if you don't, then that's on you. don't come to me during the after the midterm, the 7th week or whatever, and say, I'm doing terrible in this class, what do I need to do? Okay, one of my first questions will be, let me see your notebook, let me see the homework that you've been doing. Okay, and if you're going to say, oh, I haven't done any homework, then my answer to you is the reason why you're doing so terrible in the class is because you haven't been doing any of your homework. Okay, so you know, if you have been doing your homework, and if you have been doing this, you know, I'm very willing to work with you to get you through the class as well. Okay, but it goes both ways. You know, I love teaching statistics. I love teaching, and I love statistics, and you know, this is my dream job, teaching you guys. So I feel like, and so I put a lot of effort into the class. I feel like I give you all the resources you need in order to succeed, and so I just ask that you use them and do your best in learning. Okay. I've also recorded, for many of the homework problems, I've recorded little videos for the solutions, okay? And, you know, you would just click the thing, and it would
okay, in this one, we're given a table.
It would open up, you know, a video of me working through kind of the
while California has a lot of AIDS cases, California...
And that's there to help you learn as well, okay? My suggestion is do the homework problems yourself first, and then go to the videos to check your answers. Don't look at a problem and say, well, I don't know how to do this, and then watch the video, okay? Because if you do that, it'll feel like it makes sense, okay? Because students always come to me and they say, oh, you know, in lecture, everything makes sense to me, okay? But then on the tests, you know, I can't do anything. And I think when you do the homework problems, it's almost like you can treat it as a mini no consequences test, right? It's an opportunity to see if you are able to do what's asked of you in terms of the knowledge or the content that has been taught. And you know, if you're able to do the homework without outside help, then you should be well poised for the quizzes and exams. Okay. Each week, I also post up a practice quiz. Okay. So I have under the page that says information about next week's quiz, I have a practice quiz. Okay, and again, the intent of the practice quiz is so you can try it out and see if you understand what has been taught. And that's that, okay? I do not recommend, okay, this is, I know this is how some students are going to approach this class, but this is against my recommendation. I want to make it clear that this is how I recommend not to prepare the class, and that is, do not go immediately to the practice quiz, the first thing, and then just try to learn the content that's on the practice quiz, okay? Because then all that you're going to lose out by looking first at the practice quiz. You're going to lose out on an opportunity to test yourself, okay? So I recommend working through the homework problems, okay, and then with the practice quiz, treat it as if it were the real quiz, okay? Give yourself a time limit. Say, I'm not going to look at my notes, I'm not going to look at any other stuff, and see if you can do the practice quiz within under, quote, test-like or quiz-like situations. If you can, great. If you can't, then you can find out exactly where your weaknesses are and whatnot. If you go straight to the practice quiz and say, okay, well, this is what I've got to learn, and you learn that, and then you try to take the practice quiz again, of course you're going to get 100% because you've already seen all of these questions and problems, and you already know exactly the answers. So I would say use the practice quiz as an opportunity to test yourself, and that's going to require you to do the learning prior to looking at the practice quiz. But they're there. These practice quizzes are here, along with the answers, and they are there for every week, and that's that. Okay. So, are there any questions about stuff? Yes.
Is it possible?
Go ahead.
Is it possible to take the final the week before?
Send me an email and you'll give me a good reason why you would need to do that. Okay. The final is scheduled the day it is, but if you have a good reason, we might be able to arrange something. I'm not going to promise anything there. Okay. Another question.
Is there a class that we're not having because it says 12 weeks, but I think it's like when I counted it was like 13. Am I wrong here?
Should be on 12 weeks.
We have a class every Tuesday. But there's no
We have a class every Tuesday. Yeah.
Until the week. Okay.
Yeah.
I counted 13.
Okay.
How bad I am at math.
I can check. I can check the calendar during the break and make sure that there's 12. Maybe I've put the. I don't think I've set the dates wrong, but I'm not inerrant. I sometimes make mistakes as well. Okay.
Professor?
Yes.
I bought a book.
Okay.
But I also bought the loose leaf.
Okay.
So if anyone wants to buy it for like half the price,
Okay.
let it go.
Okay.
I hear you about Venmo.
All right. Okay. All right. Okay. Well, all right. So there's someone here willing to sell a book here. Okay. All right. Let me. So this is something I guess UCLA Extension has asked me to bring back. It's not something that I've enforced in the past, but they've asked me to bring this back just because I guess there were some concerns about students taking the wrong class, I guess. All right. So I should say this is Stats 10. It's the equivalent to taking the introductory statistics class if you were here at UCLA and attending, and I actually teach this class on UCLA main campus as well. We assume you have a certain amount of math background, okay? We assume that you've taken at least college algebra and that you have passed and done well there. If that does not sound like you, you will probably struggle and quite possibly fail this class, okay? On the other hand, I also want to say I teach another class called Stats XL 13 that meets on Thursdays. That's a faster-paced class. Most of the students in that class already have their bachelor's degree and are applying to a graduate program. Many of them have taken calculus. It's not a requirement to have taken calculus. But if this sounds like you, so if you already have your bachelor's degree, if you're applying to a graduate program and you're trying to fulfill a statistics requirement and you're quite comfortable with basic math concepts, and if that sounds like you, the XL 13 class might be a better fit. Might be a little bit more of a challenge, but also more engaging for you. But if that doesn't sound like you, this is probably the better class for you. But again, we are here under the assumption that everyone has taken at least through college algebra and done at least moderately well in that class to be here. I mean, at least passed that class to be here. And so I will not be spending any time covering concepts that have been covered in college algebra. Okay, so someone complained that I didn't teach algebra in my statistics class. Well, that I don't see how anyone could justify that complaint because this is titled statistics. And so anyway, Extension has asked me to bring this back, and so I'm going to pass out a kind of a preliminary test, okay, that kind of covers arithmetic and some algebra stuff that everyone should basically get 100%. I would say a passing grade is 8 or higher. Okay, there's 10 questions. Passing will be 8 or higher. And if you do not pass this quiz, then we will give you the quiz again next week. And if you don't pass the quiz next week, we'll ask you to drop the course. Okay. Now, because it's extension and the rules are different, I am not able to force anyone to drop the class. Okay. But it will be a strong warning that you should, if you don't pass it this week and if you don't pass it again next week, take it as a strong warning or strong urge to you to drop the course. And if you choose still to ignore those warnings, it is on you if the content or material is you find too challenging. Okay, so I'm not trying to scare anybody here, but this is just to kind of make sure that you are in the course that you're supposed to be in. Okay, and if you don't do well on this, then it might be appropriate for you to consider retaking, your college algebra class or something of this sort. Okay, so with that, I'm going to pass these out. This does not count at all towards your grade calculation at the end of this class or anything like that. But it's just so you know whether or not you should be in this class or not. Okay.